Hello and good afternoon, good early evening. Thank you for listening to MultiTrack Revolution and interviewing Aviana, musician, singer, songwriter, guitar player, general, awesome lady from Aviana and the Pure Root. So today I have the privilege of interviewing her and I'm so excited, and I also get to hear some of the new songs that have been re-recorded because I used to play bass in her band. So I'm really excited to hear the new songs. They're really great songs. I have a series of questions that I'm going to be asking. So I am going to get right into it. Welcome, Aviana.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure. I'm happy I have the pleasure to have you on my show finally.
Yeah, I love your show.
Oh, thank you so much. It's going to be even better now that you're on it. I wanted to have you on for a while and just, stuff comes up and things are due and whatever. And it was just something I was always thinking about. And now, this is a good time to do it. So,
all things in time.
Yeah, exactly. It's working out. And that's the whole point. So tell me a little bit about how you would describe your music.
My music, maybe intergalactic.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I really don't have, a particular genre. I mean, just for practical purposes, I say, like it's alternative or alternative rock, but I pull from a lot of different influences, from Prince, Jimi Hendrix, Bob Marley. Those are my favorite people. But I listen to a lot of jazz, a lot of blues, and just a myriad of different artists. And so my as far as my sound is kind of just like, I think, just kind of a combination of like my different inspirations. And it's funny because I was listening to some 90s rock today, like the Goo Goo Dolls and like, Third Eye Blind and that kind of music. And it's funny because I used to listen to a lot of that when I was younger, and I was listening to it today like, you know what, I can even see the influence in my music from all of that music. But in terms of like the content of my music and like the message that I'm pushing through my music, it's definitely what I would consider spiritual music, and music that is about encouraging people to look within themselves and find wholeness and find, spiritual presence from within, and to tap into themselves and find purpose. I'm all about raising the vibration. We definitely need it right now on the planet. So that's really what I'm driving home in my music, is finding inner spirituality, definitely Black liberation, and just bringing poetry back to music. Really bringing like the art of just like romance and big cinematic sound to music, and just like pushing the envelope and trying to deliver something that people aren't hearing now. I'm trying to take people to a new space, a new place, outer space with my music. So yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
Were you always really spiritual like this, or was there like a particular moment where you felt like you were enlightened?
Well, I mean, my circle grew up Christian. I wouldn't really say that I was deeply aligned with the religion. It was just more so of like, you grow up and you have parents and this is just what you are, you're Christian. But in terms of, I feel like spirituality is so much more, it's just such a bigger picture type of experience to me. And a few years ago, I just kind of awakening, and it kind of was met with me, when I started to travel a lot more, traveling by myself, backpacking in Europe and moving back to my hometown, and my mother had a stroke and I was her main caregiver for about 3 years, and I also had like a lot of health issues within myself, and just I don't know, I just on my journey with all of that, just something just began to emerge within me that was so much bigger, so much larger than the religion that I felt like I was held captive by most of my life, you know.
More restrictive.
And it was just a really kind of just a restrictive type of experience with religion, and not really even understanding the true origins of that religion, really understanding the history behind that religion. And I'm not talking about just like what the Bible says, but I'm talking about other resources and primary resources that speak more about how the religion came to be in the first place. And I think I just started to gain more knowledge on all of that, and evolutionist theory and ancient history. And it just was my studies coupled with just like a real true experience of going through, you know, a spiritual awakening and understanding my gifts as a healer with helping my mom and helping others, and also going through, you know, the darkness, because I think spirituality is not all just light. You know, there is a space where you do go through darkness and that, and I went through all of that, and then the music just kind of reflects my experience, and it continues to reflect what I feel like spirit is telling me to channel as a vessel. So
wow, no, that's very interesting, because everyone's story with that type of stuff is just so unique. Do you ever get like signs? Like, do you ever see certain things and go, okay, that's a sign of this?
Definitely. But I think it's funny, because I think on my journey with this, I have periods where I feel like it comes and goes. I think one of the most profound and most recognizable experiences that I've gone through in terms of seeing signs and things like that, they were all, a lot of times, areas in my life where there was crisis. But they were, I don't know, it's just like, and during those periods, I feel like the signs were so clear, all around me, not just signs like as in, you know, that penny on the floor, but like I would get signs through people, questions that I would ask about life or my next move or my next path. I would just like all of a sudden meet somebody that would tell me the answer. And you know, there just were times where everything was just like so clear to me. My intuition was just so loud. But then there have been times where, you know, right now I feel like it's not as loud as it was before. And I think a lot of it had to do with me being partly terrified by the process. Because that can be overwhelming. And if you don't have like the right guidance or mentorship or somebody who understands what you're going through, you know, for me, I just wanted it to stop in some ways. So a lot of it has kind of quieted down, but also is starting to peak again, but in a much more natural way. It's not as just like abrasive and so much as what it was.
Almost like a fear of like your own power until you learn how to use it. A fear of
your own power. I think so. And it's just a lot, you know. It's a lot, especially when you, like I said, if you don't have people around you who understand what you're going through, and you know, all of a sudden you're just like feeling things and hearing things, and you're trying to understand what's happening to you. So
wow.
Yeah, I think, you know, it freaked me out.
It was
beautiful, but it kind of freaked me out. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes people say, don't be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. And then, you know, when it happens, maybe it happens at too fast of a pace, or you end up getting what you want, but it wasn't what you thought it was going to be, like something like that.
Definitely.
It's nice to have those things happen. I mean, if I'm interpreting it the right way, that, you know, like maybe you realize that you had certain, like people have different types of energy. Yours is very, very positive. Nothing but positive.
Oh, thank you, Lisa.
Oh,
Yours
my God.
Too.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm my Elvis impression. But yeah, just right from the first moment that I met you, it was like, you know, so bright, just vibrating, you know. But I mean, like sometimes people, I feel like their energy is like so strong that like it has an effect on things, whether they realize it or
Yeah.
not. And like maybe that can be kind of scary until you learn like how much your influence can affect other people and things like that, you know?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
some people just
Yeah,
have
man.
private energy they keep to themselves. They don't want to vibe out to other people. They like to be left alone. And then, I think you and I like to shine bright and, let other
Yeah, man.
people.
It's a learning process. It's I feel like you learn as you go. You learn as you go, and you're given what you can handle in that moment. And yeah, it's a life thing, you know.
So, like when you first started playing music, was it like something you did since you were a child? Did you always have like a propensity towards playing music, or how
You
did that start?
know, when I was a kid, I actually played violin up until sixth grade. And yeah, I stopped playing because I switched school districts, and the school district that I went to just didn't have a string department. So that's why I stopped playing violin. And so, in terms of like the guitar and singing and what I do now and composing and songwriting, I didn't start all of that. It's been about 5 years now that I've been, moving as an artist in this way. And it's funny because my mom, when I was a kid, she wanted so badly for me to be this artist that I am now. She would make me, sing at pageants and talent shows, and just whatever she could think of, she would just force me on stage, and I hated it. I was like so embarrassed and mortified by like my presence on stage. I was mortified by my voice. I just had like the lowest self-esteem and no confidence. And so I just never really, I think deep down I wanted to pursue music, but I just never had the courage or thought that I could. Now in I think middle school or maybe the very beginning of high school, like I said, I loved rock music back then. So I had my uncle get me an electric guitar for Christmas one year, and I just never learned how to play it. It was always like in my mind that I was going to play it, but I didn't really have the discipline to teach myself to play the guitar. And I just never found a teacher that I guess I felt was affordable enough. So instead, I just carried around this guitar for years. Whether I moved to DC or where I was living in New York, I just always had this guitar with me until after 10 years I moved back to my hometown. And in the back of my mind, I still was like, oh, one day. And I just stumbled across a guy at a job I was working, and he played guitar. He was in a band, and he was like, I'll teach you. And I was like, okay, it's just like, okay. And so he kind of like took me under his wing and kind of was like a mentor for me in the beginning. And that's really how I got started again. I just like realized in doing that finally that I felt like that was, that this was my purpose all along. And sometimes you kind of, you carry around a guitar for years, and that's what you were supposed to be doing all this whole time. So
That's awesome. That's interesting learning about the guitar part and how you got into that and who some of your influences were for that. What about your singing? What got you interested in writing songs and singing?
Writing songs and singing. So I went to grad school. I went to grad school at NYU, and I finished in 2014, completely unrelated to anything I'm doing now. But when I finished, I was like in a really crazy, like mental dark space. I think just like grad school coupled with like New York, it just like does things to you. So I left. I like went to Europe on a one-way ticket, did some backpacking, and like had this like bright idea like out of nowhere that I was gonna sing. Now I haven't like done any like singing like since I was like a kid, but I got over there, and when I got to Paris, I just was like, well, I'm gonna go to these different clubs and say I'm this like singer from America and try to get some gigs. And that's just like exactly what I did. I just like went to like some spots, was like, oh, I sing, and I just started singing at some places. I was completely like awful. Um, it was terrible. Like my pitch was like crazy. My stage fright that I had from since I was a kid, like came at me like full steam. Like I was, like a mess, like on stage, like shaky, almost in tears, like just crazy. But I kept making myself do it. I just kept making myself like get on stage and like pushing myself, and that's how I started singing. I came back to the US like 4 months later and started doing open mics and started doing vocal lessons with an uncle of mine. Eventually took classes, like some vocal classes, and just kept doing my thing. And I've always written poetry like since like forever, and so the songwriting kind of just fell into my lap. Everything just kind of kept coming to me, like out the blue, like the music, as far as songwriting, like I just all of a sudden started to hear like full symphonies in my head, like out of nowhere, just like words and melodies and just like all of this stuff. And it became clear to me that I was to bring all this stuff out. So that's what I've been working on the last 5 years, is just bringing it out into the physical, from the inside into the physical. So
that's interesting for a few different reasons. Number one, I think it's interesting that you felt the fear and you pushed yourself anyway, and then you powered through, and you're happy that you did so. So
I'm happy I did. But you should have saw me and I looked a mess. It was terrible.
I always tell people are like, oh, you play bass, you play guitar, whatever. Like, I just started and I suck or whatever. And I'm like, you don't think I sucked when I started? Not that I'm like some amazing virtuoso or anything now, far from it. But, like everyone starts at step one. So you just have to keep doing it till you get to step 5 and 10 and wherever you want to be, your goal. So,
definitely.
I think that's good that you had the intuition to know that you had to get through that initial hard part to get to the good stuff.
I'm still in the hard part. I'm still in the hard. I mean, I think it's just like being patient with yourself, being gentle with yourself, being loving with yourself, because I can be quite hard on myself. I can be very like, a perfectionist about things. And but I had to realize, like even the other day I told myself, I've been playing guitar for about 5 years. This is like the first quarter of like professional like musicians, like you meet musicians who I've been playing for 20 years. So 5 years is like, this is like the first quarter, like I need to like ease up off myself and realize that this is a long game that I'm in, and not expect so much from myself, but to just keep at it. So yeah.
That's true, because I mean, a lot of times I didn't do stuff creatively because I thought, oh, it's not going to be perfect enough. Oh, I should have done it when I was younger, blah, blah, blah. But then life goes on and I'm like, wow, the last few years I didn't take that attitude, and look how much I got done. So,
right.
It's just something you should just do anyway, and then eventually you're going to thank yourself for it. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, man, I agree.
So I was going to ask you, what was your first guitar?
My first guitar, it was a red and white Fender Squier. Really cute little guitar, and I still have it. I still have it, given to me by my uncle, the same uncle who gave me vocal lessons. That was my first guitar.
Oh, wow.
I love Fender. Fender is great.
I think mine was a Fender Squier, too. My first electric, because my first guitar, my parents got me like an acoustic. I didn't want to play acoustic guitar. I wanted to play like hard rock and, electric.
Yeah.
And mine was like shiny black, and I would just sit in my room. I didn't know chords, so I was just like trying to like figure out like AC/DC songs by like single picking everything. It was so frustrating, So I know you told me when we first met, but if you could talk a little bit about the meaning behind the name of your band, Aviana and the Pure Roots.
Aviana and the Pure Root. Aviana and the Pure Root. It's a really, really cool story, actually. So when I was backpacking in Europe that I was just speaking about, I just started to meet all of these like people who I feel like, Spirit sent these people to help reveal to me more about me that I couldn't see myself. And these like really amazing like guys I would meet, and like women too. They would just refer to me in such like high regard. And so one gentleman I was introduced to towards the latter of my trip, I met him and he just was like, "You are the pure root." And I was like, "What?" What does that mean? What do you mean? And he's like, "No, you are the pure root." And I was just like so confused. Like I said, these people were like telling me all this like stuff. But later I kind of just like did a little research just to see what Google said about like root women and stuff like that. And it just had to do with what I found. It just like talked about, women who were healers and wise women, just very like strong, intuitive women who were meant to kind of bring healing to a space, bring healing to a person or people or whatever. And it just kind of stuck with me. It stuck with me over the years, and it just kind of evolved to mean a lot of different things for me, and just my love for Africa and Black people, and just like the beginning of creation, and just like Earth and the elements, and just really all encompassing. And but yeah, it just evolved into like a lot of different meanings for me, and it stuck with me, and it just, I don't know, I like it. I like the name, and Aviana and the pure root, like having that "and" there is also kind of inspired by Prince and the Revolution, and like how bands in the back then used to have like, like Morris Day and the Time, stuff like that. So that's like kind of where that thing kind of came from. So yeah, that's like kind of the history behind it.
Oh, wow. Okay. I can understand that because I know there's certain bands that have like, it was really big in like the 60s, like, the Beatles, the Zombies, like the somethings.
Right.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's so simple, but there's something about that I like the formation of like how the words are painted like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So you did that with and the singer and guitar player and the... Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I love that.
I like that,
I just love all
too.
those bands from back then. So, and I just like, like the whole, like, when you watch Purple Rain, they're like Prince and the Revolution. I'm like, Aviana and the Pure Root. Like, it just, just like, I don't know, just geeking out over that. So.
Yeah, that makes total sense to me. And another thing that we were talking about, I forgot what I was going to say, but then it came back to me, was like when we were talking about signs, like, do you think that maybe you missed some of the signs earlier on when you were feeling maybe not so, you said you weren't feeling like as strong about your abilities and things like that. Do you think that there was energy that was trying to go, knock, 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 Aviana, you're supposed to be a singer-songwriter. We're going to present this sign again and again and again until you get it. Do you think that happened with your playing?
Yeah, definitely. And I went a lot of different ways. Like I've explored a lot of different career choices over the years, from like the fashion industry to public relations to, editorial for like magazines. Like I've done a lot of different things, museum work, and it's just like, I don't know, like everything kind of ended. And it just, at some point in your life, like your purpose is gonna kind of like smack you on the forehead, like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And I've just chosen to answer the call.
I agree with that, because there's something to be said for when you try to do something and you can try so hard. Not that you shouldn't try hard to do certain things and go against challenges and not give up easily, but sometimes you can try so hard to do something and it's just quote unquote not in the cards or whatever. And then sometimes you can not pay attention to something or not get it, maybe even go out of your way to avoid it. And it still keeps coming up and knocks on your mental door until you open the door. It feels like music was this for you and me as well.
Yeah.
I can relate.
Yeah, definitely. definitely feel like I was pushed on the stage so much as a kid because I was supposed to be on the stage.
And it just kept coming in your life, like you said. Why did you keep bringing the guitar with you? Even though you didn't know how to play it, something told you that you were... Oh, you did at that point. Okay.
No, I did not. I did not. No, I'm sorry. I did not.
Oh, you did it. Okay, that's what I thought you said.
Yeah, I was saying I didn't. No.
But when you were traveling, you said you'd always kind of have it with you anyway. It was like you knew,
yeah,
you know, you
something
were going to play it one
yeah.
day, you know.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, I mean, I had some similar experiences too, and eventually just some weird series of events happened with me too, where there was like signs, and I was ready. I was ready to like really focus and like learn it, and I made a decision, and that was it. But it was always kind of gnawing at me, like, you need to be doing this. You want this. Why aren't you trying? And why are you giving up so easily? You know, when I was younger. But whatever, you know, any stage you're at your life, when there's life, there's hope. So you just start to, you know, you pick it up when you're ready to pick that up, you know?
Yeah.
And on that note, now I'm going to be playing these songs on the show, but I want to just go by each one and ask you a little bit about whatever you feel like sharing about what these songs are about or what they mean to you.
Yeah, okay.
Whatever you're comfortable disclosing. I know sometimes it's nice to keep your music mysterious, and I like that too. So, you know, you say whatever it is you want to say. So, Children of the Dark, tell me a little bit about that.
Children of the Dark is referencing a creation story. But this creation story is about Africa and the first people on the planet coming from Africa. And it's basically, she's just basically shining like light on Black people as like a beautiful reflection of this beginning. It's a powerful song. It's an uplifting song. It's a song that is trying to evoke pride in the people who are magical people, you know.
It's a great song.
Thank you.
Okay, and let's see. Next, Good Morning Come Noon.
Good Morning Come Noon is about death and rebirth. It's about experiencing a spiritual death and really just crying out for that rebirth. Really crying out for that rebirth. It's about going through that dark period that I was talking about in that spiritual awakening, where you're facing a lot of trauma, you're facing a lot of pain, you're going through a lot of realizations, not just about yourself, but about the world and the creation of the world, and losing my religion and finding my spirituality.
Wow.
And it was a painful time, but it was a beautiful time, and it was just kind of surrendering all that I thought that I knew and welcoming everything that is. Yeah.
to the river. Wash me again. Take me down, down to the river. Wash me again. Come save me. Wash me. Save me. Wash me
This is the one where the guitar, to me, sounds like the guitar in the Cocteau Twins.
Oh, okay.
I said to you, I don't even need to ask. You must be a huge Cocteau Twins fan. And you were like, no.
I don't know who they are.
Yeah, I was shocked because I was like, this is so Cocteau Twins.
But now I know. I get it now.
Now you know. And it's awesome. Okay, the next song I want to know more about is I Am.
I Am it's an affirmation. I am that I am. Just realizing that we are a part of everything around us, nature, the birds, like the trees, we're all connected, and really honoring, the elements of the world that make up this world, that make up me and you, honoring the elements and honoring creation and honoring our own individual enlightenment.
Very nice. An affirmation. Wow. Okay, some of my ideas of what the songs are about were like a little bit different than what you're saying. Especially Good Morning Come Noon. I thought that without really listening to all the words, just hearing the title of it, I just thought maybe this is about a night before where you played and you stayed up late. It's like good morning and you woke up and you overslept. I'm so wrong,
That's cute too,
Well, musicians, we like to stay up late and then we sleep late.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man. Yeah.
We party,
well,
whatever.
It's definitely about some long days, but not quite, I guess, what you were thinking, but hey.
Well, I usually get distracted by the sounds of the instrument, and then later on I have to really sit there and try to understand if I even heard the words correctly. So, that's something I have to kind of more revisit, where most people I think notice the lyrics first. So if I actually read the lyrics, I probably wouldn't have thought that.
Rise and leave shadows behind. follow me, and you will see. I am a bird, a hummingbird. I am a tree, a buzzing bee, talking to myself. I am my wishing well. Come follow me, and you will see. We run under the
So the next song, which I probably have the total wrong idea about, is Rose Petals.
Rose petals. What do you think it's about? How about you tell me what you think?
Oh, okay. Let's
Yeah.
see. So I would say, without looking at all your words, and I've played this song with you before. Okay. I think the lyrics go, rose petals in my sleep. Is that how it goes?
MIT.
In my tea. Okay. See, I told you I'm not good
Yeah.
with lyrics. In my tea. Is this a promotional song for your tea business? By the way, she has it.
No.
She makes her own teas. She has her own business.
I do make my own tea.
Tell us about that.
AvianaTea.com, Live While Living by Aviana. You can shop my tea there. Organic herbal blends, Calm and Rise. The Rise blend is good for the respiratory system, breathing, allergies. The Calm blend is just good for just overall vitality. But the song is not necessarily trying to promote the tea. It's kind of like, it's a love song, actually. It's kind of like, you know how Prince had the song Pink Cashmere,
Mm-hmm.
and he like compared like his love to like, I'm giving you a coat of pink cashmere. It's kind of like the same type of vibe, like rose petals in my tea, and the feeling I get from drinking this tea is like kind of what being with this person it's like a metaphor, but it's also a song about having a spiritual connection with a partner. And before kind of this journey, I didn't really experience what I have experienced in the last few years, and that's just like you know, being with a person who amplifies your spiritual knowing, or a person who, when you're with them, it brings out more of your healing capabilities through your interactions with this person. And it's just like a song that's about a very, very intense, otherworldly, magical kind of experience. That's not like, it's more than like an earthly experience. You know, it's like a experience that's you know, taking you into outer space.
I really like that.
Yeah.
That made me think too, like that I've heard all these songs, and I've played all of them with you at some point or another. So the next song is actually a song that I don't think that I know.
We never played this one. Yeah, this has like a little reggae riff, because I love reggae. So I had to like try it.
I love reggae. Yeah.
It's so dear to me. So I hope I did it right. I hope I paid homage in the right way. But it's Wings of an Eagle. It's another empowerment song. But it's also about revolution. It's about rising up against the status quo, overcoming corruption and the destruction of, you know, for Black people to realize that, you know, we are magical people, and we have the power to find our liberation on our own terms. And yeah.
So when we play this is going to be, we're going to be experiencing, we meaning whoever's listening to the show, because you've obviously heard the song, it's your song, but we're going to be hearing it together, experiencing it for the first time. So I hear it's reggae. I'm already excited about that.
Yeah, I love Wings of an Eagle. It sounds very different from any of my other songs.
Oh wow.
It's a very different sound to it, but it was fun. And to me, it just like shows my ability to kind of, bring my voice to different styles. And, it was fun just to see what I can do. Yeah.
That's good. It's good not to put like genre restrictions. Like if you feel connected to a certain genre of music or you like a certain sound, I think, you should just go with that.
Yeah.
Paying homage to it. And speaking of things like that, there's always such a positive view that you have on everything. If you had to give advice, I guess the best way I could ask this question is if you found somebody who was very depressed or was very frustrated with something in life, and since you always come up with such positive things and you have such a good attitude, like how would you tell them on how to find that within themselves?
Spend a lot of time being quiet. Spend a lot of time being quiet, a lot of time in nature, and in nature especially. Just surround yourself by trees and just be quiet. And sooner or later, some answers will start to pop up. Ask the right questions. Ask some good questions. If it's not to any God, ask some good questions to your internal self, And sooner or later, some answers will pop up. Some people will pop up. Something's going to pop up to show you the way.
If you're open to it.
Yeah. If you're open to it. Yeah. Open to it.
Wow. That's beautiful. That's really great advice. I like that a lot. Thank you very much for being on the show. And it was really nice. I really enjoyed it like I thought I would. And I also wanted to see if there was anything else that you wanted to, shameless self-promotion, plug a website or anything, your business. Now's the time.
I would just say, I'm honored to serve in this way. And I would love it if you guys check out my new EP, Prophecy, now on all streaming platforms. You also can support me by purchasing the EP straight off of Bandcamp, which I'm sure all you fellow musicians know that it helps us out and goes into our pockets. You can check out my website, avianapureroot.com, AVIANA pureroot.com. You can follow me on Instagram at Aviana Pure Root. And on my website, you can also learn more about the tea that I sell, which is through my health and wellness platform, Live While Living by Aviana.
There you go. She is a woman of many styles and many talents.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I appreciate it.
Oh, believe me, my pleasure. Thank you so much again. And also, her EP is coming out. If you want to mention anything about the release of that.
Well, yeah, it's out. It's out now. All platforms. Prophecy. All platforms on Bandcamp. You can support me by purchasing the EP on Bandcamp, which puts the money directly into musicians' pockets. And you can check out my website, avianapureroot.com, Instagram, Facebook, Aviana Pure Root. Check it out. Thank you so much.
Support your local musicians. Okay, great. Well, thanks so much again. I really enjoyed having you on the show for this interview. Thank you all for listening to MultiTrack Revolution. Check out Aviana and the Pure Root, and keep collecting records or digital records.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Nothing for my people, we fight. Rock the earth, the revelations on time. A mountain's nothing for my people to climb. The revolution's on the move, fall in line. Western society, we coming for ya. House on the hill, oh yeah, we coming for ya. Voice of creation has finally come. Beast of no nation is our way, you're done. You've got the rhythm inside. People to run, clock the hour, we stay up till it's A snake is nothing for my people. Rise, rise, shake the tide. They say the fire next time. Mass destruction, we coming for ya. Hills of pollution, yeah, we coming for ya. Spirits of Gaia have finally come. Beast of no nation is our way, you're done. You've got the rhythm inside, inside. You've got the whole world inside. Now look around and I see you, and you see me up high in the sky. And I see me, we've got the wings of an eagle to fly. What about Zimbabwe, Jamaica? We gon' take back the land in the area we fight. What about corruption in Africa? Stomp out the madness from creation we fight. What about the war on our children? We gon' stomp out injustice from the area we fight. What about my family in America? Wipe out oppression from creation. Nothing you can do to stop the laws of nature. We gonna stomp out the evil from creation we fight.